All right, guys, in this short video, I want to talk about my biggest mistake that I made when I moved away from extreme diets, because it's a common question I get. People will come to me and go, I was doing these extreme diets and I'm having problems moving away from it. So I think it helps to understand somebody who's been through that situation and their biggest mistake. So what is that biggest mistake? And it's very simple. I just wasn't patient enough. I wanted to make a bunch of quick changes because I felt like garbage and I wanted to change, but it ended up hurting me more in the short term than it should have. Okay. So I don't want to see that happen to you. Well, what does that mean? Okay. First of all, take into account your background. What I mean by that is there's a huge difference between somebody who's been doing this a year, whatever extreme diet you've been doing it a year versus somebody like me who was doing it 18 years, close to 20 years. And what I mean by that is by the time I had reached the end of that road of doing keto, carnivore, along with intermittent fasting, I had tanked my metabolism. I had Hashimoto's thyroiditis, so my body was attacking my thyroid. I was diagnosed pre-diabetic. I was only eating 30 grams of carbs a day, but I was pre-diabetic. Okay. So I had these problems: insomnia, anxiety, adrenal fatigue. I was messed up metabolically. My recovery was much longer, much slower than somebody who's been doing it a year. So I introduced carbs way too fast. It was one of my big mistakes. My body couldn't handle carbs at that point. So to throw them on board cost a bunch of weight gain. Okay. I also changed too many things at once. And granted, this isn't just one mistake, but it's lumped under that one mistake. I just was not patient enough. So what does it mean to be patient? What should that look like? Well, here's what I would do again. Okay. First of all, I'm not going to go from 30 grams of carbs a day to 300, which is what I did. Okay. I would say, okay, I'm at 30 grams of carbs a day. I'm going to bump it up to 40, maybe 50 grams of carbs a day. Maybe. I'm going to see how I do. And they're going to be natural carbs. They're going to be the kind of carbs I recommend in my videos, and see how you do. Give it 5 days. If you feel fine, you're doing 50 grams of carbs a day, you feel fine, you're not experiencing any, bad things, whether that be weight gain or whatever, great. The next week, bump it up to 60, maybe 70, and keep inching it up. As you're doing that, slowly bring the fat down. I realize that's 2 changes at once, which is not something I recommend normally, but in this case you have to, which brings up another point here. Like I said, bring fat down each week just to accommodate for the increase in carbs. And you're going to find you don't have to bring fat down that much. But here's my other recommendation. I would have kept my calories the same. Not only was I adding in a bunch more carbs, I kept my fat pretty much the same. And then I just ate at will. And once I started eating carbs, I was starting to get my appetite back. I was fueling my body, but my calories went up. So I gained a ton of weight. Like I said, I think 34 pounds is what I gained in a year and a half, maybe. Now, at this point, my weight is coming down naturally, eating quite a bit of food. Many days over 3,000 calories. I'm a fairly big guy, but I can kind of eat what I want, and my weight either maintains or slightly going down. It depends on what I have going on. Depends if I'm getting sun exposure. I do much better weight-wise with sun exposure. But just do one thing at a time. Once you get your carbs up to a healthy point and you have a good ratio of protein, fat, carb, then you can focus on, okay, now I'm going to keep that ratio, but I'm going to bump my calories up a bit, because you now have given your body the nutrients it needs to begin repairing your metabolism. Now you can begin to eat more and still see the weight go down over time. But again, be patient. I guess that's my biggest takeaway here, is I just wasn't patient enough. It is going to depend on your situation. Some people are in worse situations. Okay. So let me know in the comments other video topics that would be helpful for you that I cover. I want to make videos that are helpful for you. So let me know in the comments. I'll get on those as soon as I can. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate you watching. See you in the next one.